السلام عليكم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم عبده ورسوله. قال الله تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال الله تعالى: واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال الله تعالى: اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, we seek His forgiveness, and we seek refuge in Allah from the evil within ourselves and from our evil deeds. Whoever Allah guides, there is none to misguide him. Whoever Allah leads astray, there is none to guide him. I testify there is no God but Allah alone, without any partners, and that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is His servant and messenger. Allah Almighty said, O you who have faith, fear Allah as it is His right to be feared, and do not die unless you are Muslims. And Allah Almighty said, and fear Allah from whom you ask each other and in your family ties, for Allah is ever watchful over you. And Allah Almighty said, fear Allah and speak words as befitting. He will amend your deeds for you and forgive your sins. Whoever obeys Allah and His Messenger has achieved a great triumph. Ameen. Ya ayyuhal muslimin. Today you have come to Salat al-Jum'ah, to listen to this khutbah, and to pray for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every week you do this, inshallah. Every week you leave your work, you leave your school, you might leave your schools, you might leave your lunch break, you might leave your family, you might leave your house, but you come here at this specific time every week. And yet, in this crowd here today, I can safely say that not all of us have the same intentions. Some of our intentions may be unconscious. We might think that coming to the Salat al-Jama'ah is just an unconscious thing. It's part of our routine. We don't even think about it. Others of us, we might say that this is an opportunity to get a longer lunch break from work, or that we might be appearing more religious in our workplace, and this might afford us a higher status. And some of us might just come to the Salah because it is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded of us. And this is the way to please Allah. You might be wondering, what does it matter? I'm still here in the masjid, right? The end result is I'm still here. I'm still listening to the khutbah. I still pray. I still do my tasbih. I still do everything I'm supposed to do. So what does it matter why I'm here? Well, the information today I hope to share with you shouldn't be new information. Instead, I hope it is a simple reminder for myself, firstly, but for everybody here as well, that our intentions matter. And although it might be a simple concept to say, it's very nuanced. And inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what I say today has some benefit for you. We know in our pillars of the deen, Arkan al-Islam, that there are 5 of them. And in all 5, we know that intention matters. We know that when you say the Shahada, as you're a new Muslim and you enter the deen, you must have the intention of becoming a new Muslim to enter the deen. We know that it's not something you just say without any meaning whatsoever. If you do, it's just words. It doesn't mean anything if you don't actually mean it. That you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one, and that Sayyidina Muhammad is the slave and messenger. We know that the first step for prayer isn't actually wudu. We're saying Allahu Akbar. Instead, it is having the intention to pray a specific salah, or to just pray in general. We know that the third pillar, zakat, you must have the intention that you are paying zakat, because you need to be paying a certain amount at a specific time, and without it, it's just sadaqah, or a different kind of charity. It's not zakat. For the Hajj and for fasting during Ramadan, the first step in both is to have the intention that you're going to be fasting throughout the month of Ramadan, or that you will be doing the Hajj. The first day before Ramadan starts, when we eat our suhoor, we have to make sure that we say the intention, or that we have the intention within ourselves that we will fast for the entire month. And in the Hajj, the first thing that we do is we have to say, or have the intention within ourselves, that we are going to perform Hajj for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in our religion, in the very pillars that define our faith, we see that intention is important. And without intention, what are we doing? Without intention, what we are doing has no meaning. So having the correct intention, that's very important. And that's something that I hope to deliver in today's khutbah, inshallah. And in fact, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us in the first hadith al-Nabawi, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته لدنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. Now why would Rasulullah ﷺ tell us this? He tells us this because he wants to tell us that our actions are by our intentions. He tells us this because he knows that we will only get out of our actions what we intend to get out of our actions. And the example he uses, which I'll reference later, is the hijrah. We know that if you make the hijrah, it can be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or it can be for the sake of a worldly reason. It can be for the sake of something economic. It can be because you want to get married. It could be for something else entirely. There are lots of different intentions you may have. But if your intention is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is the only way you will please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is if you do it for the sake of Allah. Otherwise, you'll only get the worldly intention. And something important to consider too is our worldly gains. They're already written for us. They are rizq. So that means that if you do something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it isn't mutually exclusive from getting what you want in the world as well. There was a saying in our household growing up, that by fighting for the akhirah, you are also fighting for the dunya. Whereas if you fight just for the dunya, you will only get the dunya and not the akhirah as well. So to put it in a bit of a worldly context, I'll give 2 examples. The first one, you can have 2 college students. They will both enter the same class. And you will see the first college student, he is only in this class because it is required of him. His only intention is to finish the class, do the bare minimum effort, get the passing grade, and it's on his transcript. But the second student, he will take the class because he wants to learn in the class, because he thinks that what the class may have to teach is important for him. So he puts in more effort. And he puts in the effort in order to actually learn what's in the class. So come the end of the term, both students may have the same risk. They both may end with the same grade. And you may think to yourself, well, they both have the same end result then. They both have the same grade. But that isn't true. The second student, he may earn a letter of recommendation. He may become friends with the professor. He may learn something important to his job later on in his life, or anything that he can use to apply later on in his life. But the first student, all he will get is the grade. Right? And the second example is you may have two Muslims that enter a masjid. The first Muslim, he may look at the masjid as just a place to socialize, or he may enter the masjid so that he may be known as a person that enters the masjid, nothing more. To look like he is worshiping, but not actually have the intention of worshiping. But the second Muslim, he may be fine entering the masjid and not knowing, and people not knowing that he's in the masjid. He may be fine being in this place of worship and only worshiping. Yu'ammar baytullah. But he doesn't care if he's known for it or not. And this is important too, because as I'm about to share, there's a hadith that speaks exactly of the second Muslim. But firstly, I want to talk about the story of Sayyidina al-Khidr. We all should know the story, right? Sayyidina al-Khidr, he killed a little boy. He destroyed a man's boat after helping him. But he did it with good intentions. Or at least he did it because it was the mission that he was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So although we may think that the murder and vandalism of the boat are evil actions, indeed on the surface level they may appear so, but we know that Sayyidina al-Khidr won't enter the hellfire because of those actions, if he is to enter the hellfire at all. We know that he did it because it was a mission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was his only intention, was to do what Allah wanted. Now we'll compare and contrast this with the hadith min at-Tirmidhi. And for the sake of time, I'm only going to read the translation. It's the hadith about the first three people that will enter hellfire. And the hadith says that the first three people to enter hellfire will be the martyr, who was martyred for the sake of himself, for personal glory. The rich man, who donated money, but only so that he may be known as a philanthropist, a rich person that does good. And lastly, for the scholar that only wanted to be a scholar so that he may be known as a qari, and as an influential member of the community. So here I'm only going to read the translation about the scholar because I feel it's the most applicable to our lives. That's the one that's the most attainable for each of us. Then will be brought forward a man who acquired knowledge and imparted it to others and recited the Quran. He will be brought and Allah will make him recount his blessings, and he will recount them and admit having enjoyed them in his lifetime. Then will Allah ask, what did you do to requite these blessings? He will say, I acquired knowledge and disseminated it and recited the Quran, seeking your pleasure. Allah will say, you have told a lie. You acquired knowledge that you might be called a scholar, and you recited the Quran so that you might be said that he is a qari. And such has been said. Then orders will be passed against him, and he shall be dragged into the hellfire. I share this because, brothers and sisters, it's important. You may have the most evil of actions, but pitted with the correct intention, you may not enter hell. And by the way, I don't say this so that you can do whatever you want and then say later on, oh, I did this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who are you going to lie to? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. And it's shown in this hadith. Allah knows. You can't trick Allah. He knows what your intentions are. They have to be pure. And if you think, oh, I'm going to be given a mission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no, you won't. That was something for Sayyidina al-Khidr only. I say this to show you an extreme example that even the most evil of actions, they might not necessarily need to hell. But a person that tried to, or benefited his community and memorized the Quran and learned a lot about Islam, he may still go to hell because his intentions were not to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. He got what he wanted. In the world, he got what he wanted. He was known as a qari and a scholar. But come Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he put him in hell because he wasn't aiming to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So like I said, these are extreme examples. And you might think, maybe these don't apply to me. But in fact, the same principle applies to our daily lives, right? For my fellow youth, those of you in college, those of you working, whatever it is you're doing, You're looking to set up your lives, right? You are in that phase where you aren't quite yet settled in your life. You're still working towards your future. So if you're in college, and I have a lot of friends in my college, they tell me that they're only in college because they want to make money. They're only in their degree because they think it'll be lucrative. And in fact, I have had some of my Muslim friends tell me the same thing. And as for myself, I have had the same mentality, except for very recently. So then you need to look at yourself and ask, well, why do you want to make this money? Why are you looking to make this money? Is it because you want this money in order that you may get married and have kids and have, raise a good Muslim-fearing family and to do as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted of us? Or are you doing it because you want to live a certain lifestyle? Because you want to live by yourself and have enough money to live comfortably in that scenario? Are you doing it so that you may become rich and that you may benefit the ummah? You may donate to the masjid or donate to other good causes. Are you doing it for that reason, to please Allah, or are you doing it for something else entirely? Again, for my youth, and this is something that might be tough in this civilization. When you go and you smile at people, and they may be of the opposite gender, do you do it because you know that smiling is a form of ibadah, and you're doing it because you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or are you doing it because you want to look attractive? Right? This may sound funny, but it's something that, the youth do have to come and contend with, especially in this society. And now for my elders, those of you that are established in your lives, those of you that may have found work already, those of you that may have moved to this country of your own free will, or those of you that choose to stay in this country of your own free will, why are you doing so? You don't need to tell me. Your intention is your own. It's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it's best to be honest with yourself now and see if you may change your intention now so that it's for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instead of being forced to be honest with Him on Yawm al-Qiyamah when you have nothing to do. Right? Are you making your money so that you may benefit your family, so that you may benefit the ummah? Are you staying in this country so that you might make this country more of an Islam-fearing one, so that you might be spreading Islam? Did you come to this country for that reason, or did you come for an economic reason? Remember the first hadith, إِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. You'll only get what you intended for yourself. You'll only get what you wanted. And come Yawm al-Qiyamah, there will be nowhere to hide. So think about it. What are you doing for yourself now? And why are you doing it? The thing that I want to have as a takeaway here is that your intentions matter. And that it's important to take a step back, maybe before you do something, or even in the process of doing it, and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I hoping to get out of it? As I hope I've started to impress upon you, this is an important concept. And in fact, there might not be a more important one at all. So ask yourself, before you do anything, why am I doing it? Am I doing it for a selfish reason? Or am I doing this with the intention of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? However, intentions don't just have to be what might land you in hell. They might be something that benefit you. Each of us, we all do things every day that with the right intention could be a hasanat generator. They could all be things that bring you barakah. We all, for example, we all eat and sleep. Are you eating with the intention of preserving your body? The one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusted with you as an amana. Are you doing it? Are you sleeping? The hopes of waking up early for Fajr, so that you might please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to also take care of your body? Or are you doing it because you're hungry, or because you're tired, or because I don't want to do anything right now, so I'm just going to eat and then go to sleep? Right? They're the same actions, and we all do them. But with the right intention, you may then have a better barakah for yourself. You might have a better outcome for yourself on Yawm al-Qiyamah while still getting the worldly benefit of what you're doing. Right? The worldly benefits are already written for you. So why don't you intend to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the same time and bring yourself barakah and bring yourself the exact same outcome anyways that was already intended for you? Right? I've already spoken about the example of smiling as a form of worship. Are you smiling and saying salam to everyone as with the intention of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or are you doing it just because I want to look good? Are you going to the gym, for example, and exercising because you want to take care of your body and become strong and benefit the Muslim ummah? Or are you doing it because you think you will look attractive later on? When you go to advise your brothers and sisters in the masjid, when you think they say or do something wrong, are you doing it with the intention of looking like someone wise? Are you doing it with the intention of putting this brother and sister down by making them feel inferior to you? Or are you doing this because you genuinely want what's best for them? Right? These are just a few examples, and they're things that we might all have to, encounter in our daily lives, but they're important. They might be the difference between what gets you in heaven or hell. So think about it. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I've talked to you guys a lot today about what intentions are and why they're important. And I've backed it up with some hadith. So now you might be asking yourself, well, how do I know when my intentions are good? How can I keep myself in check? And that's a good question. That's something I asked myself too when I was coming up with this khutbah. It's not easy. It's not easy trying to keep track of all of your actions. It's not easy thinking about everything you do once, twice, 3 times, especially when they might already be part of your routine. However, the best thing that I've found is just after every salah, after every prayer, you're already in the mood of worship, aren't you? When you finish your tasbih and you finish everything else you do that's part of your ritual for salah, just take an extra minute, an extra 2 minutes, an extra 3 minutes. What else do you have that's more important than thinking about what your intentions are and if they're going to benefit you on Yawm al-Qiyamah? Think about what you've done already in your day, the major things that you can remember. And think about, well, why did I do those things? And think about what you know will be coming up for you later on in the day. And think about, why am I about to do these things? And if you find that for some reason you cannot shift your intentions in your own head, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and always have the intention of wanting to fix yourself and to fix your intentions. You know, there's a Western saying here. It's called, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I think they say this because they don't have this concept of the afterlife. They don't have a concept of someone of a higher power keeping people in check. So they only look at the end result of actions. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Ahzab, verse number 5, وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ فِيمَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ بِهِ وَلَكِنْ مَا تَعَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمًا. And the translation for this is, there is no blame on you for what you do by mistake, instead only what you do intentionally. And Allah is all-forgiving, most merciful. So if you find yourself that you make mistakes, that maybe your intention slips, still have the overarching intention that you are looking to please Allah. Allah knows we're not perfect. Allah knows that we will make mistakes. That's just part of being a human. But as long as you have the intention of coming back and fixing those mistakes, Allah is the Ghafur Rahim. He will forgive you. All you have to do is keep working towards what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. So don't be discouraged if you do fall astray in sin. Always look to fix yourself. Always look to improve. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم. اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم العالمين إنك الحميد المجيد. May Allah forgive me today for any trespasses I have made. Any mistakes I have made are from me. And anything good I have said was said with the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Welcome as-salam.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Straighten your lines, fill in the gaps. Pray as if it's your last prayer. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والسماء والطارق وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق من ماء دافق يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب إنه على رجعه لقادر يوم تبلى السرائر فما له من قوة ولا ناصر والسماء ذات الرجع والأرض ذات الصدع إنه لقول فصل وما هو بالهزل إنهم يكيدون كيدا وأكيد كيدا فمهل الكافرين أمهلهم رويدا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.